Hello everybody, Darkness Destroyer here, and welcome to Mushroom Oasis. I do not know what this is going to be about, but we are going to find out. She is female. Pacey has been missing for a while. What a start. My cat is missing. She was an indoor cat, but had the tendency of a wild cat on a mission, trying to leave whenever the door was open. Fair enough. Catios and playtime just wasn't enough for the little missus. I figured she'd come running if I left some food by the porch. 3 days later, still, no cat. I tried everything I could think of, asking around the neighborhood, putting up a missing cat poster. Sadly, nothing came from my efforts. I couldn't search for her during the day since I had work keeping me occupied. And there's only so many hours in the evening I could yell around the streets looking for her. There was only one place left I could think of that she might have ran off to. The woods by my house, right across the street. I definitely caught her eyeing the birds and squirrels that ran along the perimeters from my front window. Her teeth clicked in excitement. I was no outdoorsy person by any means. In fact, the thought of going in there scares me. But I had to find her, or at least try. First weekend that came around, I packed up some water, Pixie's favorite treats, and a compass to be safe. I wasn't sure where to even begin looking for her, so I started walking in a straight line, called out her name every few steps. Certainly did take a lot for me to realize that I was way in over my head. Why did I think this was a good idea? It was hard for me to find my bearings within the surrounding trees. I didn't want to admit I was lost. At least, not yet. I could only squint down at my compass as the needle spun slowly. Pretty sure they want me to do that. Did I really bring a busted compass on my first venture out in these woods? Figured that would be my luck. The only thing risking my own safety was my own incompetence. I shook my head hastily. No. No time for negativity. Pixie was out there somewhere, cold, lost, and hungry. I had to keep going. It's been hours. I'm so lost, and I don't even know why I kept searching even after the moment I'd realized that. Why did I think this was a good idea? Hunger had been gnawing at my stomach for a while now, having missed breakfast, lunch altogether. The heat and humidity from the afternoon sun was unbearable, but the cooling air did nothing to soothe me. Even if I were to head home, I couldn't even pinpoint where that was. What do people even do in this situation? I knew it was a baseless optimism, but walking onwards was really the only thing I could think of to do. Surely I'll come across something familiar. I trudged on my shoes, carefully avoiding the tree roots intertwined across the forest floor. But in my weakened state, plus the approaching darkness, I found myself stumbling through the rough terrain. My feet hit something soft jutting out of the ground. My hands shot out as I lost my balance. My feet crumpled, tried to find purchase as I wobbled backwards, arms flapping. Poof! What? My shoe had landed smack dab in a circle of mushrooms, brunt of it, causing a wisp cloud to erupt from the clusters. I stuck my nose in my elbow to avoid breathing it in. I couldn't differentiate one tree leaf from another for the life of me, but I'm pretty sure humans aren't supposed to inhale whatever the hell this was. It smelled strongly of rotten wood and wet dirt, even as it cleared. Something shiny quickly caught my attention. I stood down and picked it up and gasped under my breath. It was Pixie's collar. Covered in whatever the hell those mushrooms released, I looked around desperately for any signs of her. Pixie? Pixie! I coughed from inhaling some of the remaining dust floating in the air. I should really steer clear from this. Pocketing Pixie's collar, I retreated carefully until I could breathe again. It's gonna be really funny if we find the cat and it does look like her. Stepping back, I could still smell it. I must have stuck to my hair and clothes. A quince once over confirmed my suspicions with a slight cringe. A thin yet generous coating of it all over covered my sleeves and jeans. I leaned against a tree, dusting off my clothes in a naive attempt to get the dust and smell out to no avail. If anything, it felt like I'm breathing more of it in. What used to be musty now turned sweet. I found myself inhaling even deeper, trying to pinpoint the smell. Cucumbers? It smelled like fresh cucumbers. A tingly feeling crept up my hands and my neck. Pin-pricks spread across my limbs as a strange heat reached my face. I started to feel drunk and woozy. My senses were numb. It should freak me out, and yet, strange comfort washed over me. I should lie down. Right now, in fact. My legs gave out from underneath me, my body toppling over in an awkward angle. I laid there and stared and stared and stared. It was nice here. A peaceful calm. Perfect place for a nap, even. My eyes grew heavy as I swam in and out of consciousness. Yeah, a nap sounds really good right about now. Oh? Lots of critters passing through lately. Sorry this happened to you, little one. It could have been anyone, but it had to be you. Wait, a human? How'd you end up all the way out here? Still breathing, too. And geez, I can't leave you here. What should I do? I woke up with a jolt. It was warm, but comfortably so. I could feel the weight of a blanket on me as I tried to sit up. I couldn't move my body. My fingers twitched uselessly at my sides as my eyes darted around in panic. Glancing about, I could see the interior of a cabin, or at least the ceiling of one. I couldn't see much past the corner of my eyes. Where was I? How did I get here? And a desperate feeling rose in my chest. I had to leave, right now. This was Ron. Ron! I wasn't meant to be here. I could hear the crack of fire next to me, likely source of warmth I had felt on waking up. I could hear footsteps approaching. Stay awake. Oh, look at you, you goblin-y looking ass. I fluttered my eyes, strained to look at the person approaching. My eyes widened as I took in their appearance, their preposterous form from their forehead catching my attention, not to mention the green skin. Stranger didn't sense my unease as they heaved a sigh of relief. You're awake. That's very, very good. How are you feeling? I blinked. Oh. Sorry, I forgot about that. Here. The person held a cup to my lips, a strong, sweet smell coming from the rim. A gentle hand grabbed my chin and opened my mouth. I couldn't even move to resist. Don't worry, it'll help you feel better, I promise. Drink up. As the liquid hit my tongue, all I could feel was a vague sense of heat. As I kept drinking, taste and texture returned, sweetness of berries and chamomile coating my taste buds. I could even detect a hint of mint. As I lifted my head, finally, hands, fists at my side, as I propped myself onto my elbows, the person kept a steady hand on my chin, careful not to pour much in case I choked. I finished every last drop, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand. I stared at my fingers, realizing I had full anatomy over my body again. Good as new. Now, how are you feeling? Better, thank you. The stranger laughed. Oh, I like the way you sound. Been ages since I talked to anyone, much less with voice as nice as yours. You doll! I brushed off their strange compliment, finally looking at the cabin properly. It was a simple room filled with sparse but decorated wood furniture, fit for someone living alone. An open archway that led right to what I assumed was the kitchen. Next to it, a door was closed shut, possibly the bathroom. Taking it in, there was a common theme of knitted decorations strewn about. Any available surface had patterned knit tablecloths covering it. An unfinished project laid beside the bedside table where I sat. A pair of knitting needles jutted out from a pile of yarn from a small basket. As far as I could tell, it looks like the beginnings of a green scarf. The stranger was comfortable in staying silent, observing me as I glanced around. They tossed their hat onto the bed, scruffing their hair and making it even messier. With their hat off, their unique features were impossible to ignore. Sorry, but who... what are you? Oh, I didn't introduce myself, did I? Hiya, I'm Michael, with a Y. I shook my head. No, I meant that, Michael stared at me with their left ear twitching. You look very... he snorted. Ugly? Off-putting? No, just different. Different, huh? You're just being nice. Well, then explain yourself. I mean, that's kind of rude, isn't it? I paused for a moment before pitching my nose but exhaling slowly. I'm just... sorry. It's been a long day is all. I should be thanking you. If it helps, a skin condition? Is that what humans call them? The way they said it didn't sound so confident. And the ears? Genetics. Right. And I assume the little... I waved vaguely at their horns. Antenna? Those things are just cosplay to complete the look? Would that make a convincing argument? I squinted. Maybe. Then, yeah, it's a cosplay. Still doesn't explain everything. Michael huffed a nervous laugh. Listen, I'm just a guy living by himself in the woods. You don't need to worry yourself further than that, okay? I don't like that. Something in his tone compelled you to not question his existence anymore. He's just some guy, living in the woods. Completely normal. Right, completely normal. I'm Darkness. Michael beamed. Nice to meet you, Darkness. Gross. I fiddled with the blankets as Michael scooted closer from the edge of the bed. I know I already asked, but how are you feeling? Any aches, sores, nausea? Intrusive thoughts, weird impulses, fever, maybe? I don't... He placed his hand on my forehead before I could react. His hands were callousy, quickly retracting as he gave a thoughtful hum. You seem to be lucid. That's a good sign. Great. He hummed absently, twitching his ears, reminding of a perturbed cat. Cat. My cat! Oh, shoot. Sorry if that, is out of nowhere, but have you seen a cat around these parts? Her name's Pixie. She's a sweet little thing, about this big, skittish, but she can approach strangers if she needs to. I pulled up my phone to show pictures of her, only to find it was missing from my back pocket. Wait, where's... I haven't. Huh? Your cat. I haven't seen it. I see. I slumped against the pillows, rubbing my temples. She lost her collar, too. Even if anyone finds her, they wouldn't be able to tell where she's from. Damn it. Michael stays quiet, watching me from the side of the bed. You came all this way out here for a cat? Huh? Of course. To the point where you're willing to run yourself ragged this deep in the forest? For a cat? Do you realize how far away you've wandered from the nearest town? I found you near unconscious in an area nobody set foot in for years. For a cat. He sounded like he was holding himself back from giving me a stern lecture, as if in disbelief that I had such little regard for my own survival. My cheeks grew heated at how stupidly reckless that sounds. I mean, she's not just a cat, she's my family. I know it was stupid to even try it, but I had to. Michael eased up, shoulders tense as he looked over from underneath his unruly bangs. Family, huh? Trying to sound like a guy is very hard. He finally tips his head at me with a smile. You're willing to wander this far for such a small critter? I've met my fair share of lost campers, hunters, and a few runaway teens or two. But someone looking for their pet? You're kind of weird, aren't you? I sputtered, much to his amusement. Speak for yourself? Who cosplays in the middle of the woods? Michael laughed, a deep, hearty one resonating from his chest. Fair? I think I'm starting to like you. Likewise. His smile widened, but something was off about it. He was showing too much teeth. It felt like he hadn't talked to someone in a real long time, forgot how to smile the right amount. I rubbed my neck, trying to think of something else to say. Can I ask, how did I get here? Oh, like I said, I found you in the woods not far from here. Oh, geez, really? I knew I was tired, but I couldn't have possibly... I did step on something important. Familiar pinpricks kept under my skin. Home. I need to go home. Michael stiffened as he grabbed my shoulder. Never mind that. You've fallen unconscious from a heat stroke. Heat stroke? No, that wasn't what happened. I wasn't. I was fine up until... I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. Michael shook his head, intensely leaning close. Firefly? I beg your pardon? No, Firefly, you were not fine at all. If I hadn't found you when I did, well, who knows what could have happened. You could have gotten injured or attacked by a wild animal. There's dangers in these woods, you know. No, he was right. You had been so foolish. How did you think you could do this on your own? Searching for your cat in the middle of the woods. And without bringing any water? Passing out from heat stroke of all things. We did bring water. We remembered to bring water. Wait, what? How could you have been so stupid? I shook my head, brain too foggy to pick apart my thoughts. He sounded confident, so why should you doubt him? Well, if it means anything, I'm glad you were there. Michael relaxed, hand on his lap once more. He grinned at me. So am I. I'm definitely glad I found you. His eyes were fully hidden behind his unruly hair, but I couldn't help but feel how intensely they were fixated onto me as he said that. The hairs on the back of my neck stood. Sure. Without a distraction, I've only just realized how uncomfortable I was sitting still. The blanket on me was starting to itch, just as the desperate need to get home began to rise in me again. This was interesting, but I should really get going now. Wait. My host jumped up from the bed before I could. I mean, I can't just let you wander around these woods. It's late. Please, stay a bit longer. Come. Sorry. It was weird. He grabbed my hand and led me across the room. We stepped into the kitchen, a fragrant smell of cooked potatoes and meat hung in the air. 2 plates... Oh, did he cook my cat? I'm gonna be so sad if he did that. 2 plates had been set out on a small circular table, complete with utensils and mugs of tea. I wasn't expecting guests today, so food is nothing fancy, but join me for dinner? He looked so hopeful, ears drooping. You'd feel bad if you had to say no. I don't wanna. No, thank you. I ignored the pleading voice in the back of my head, stealing my resolve. Strangely enough, the second I made up my mind, the faint static that fogged my thoughts cleared instantly, only replaced with the urge to need to go back home. Michael goes quiet, his grip on my hand tightens before loosening his hold. I see. If that's what you want. But are you really sure? Yes. His ears flattened at my words. He laughed an empty laugh, mouth twisting into a crooked grimace. Surely you wouldn't mind sitting down for a quick meal? Just a bite, even. Please. His hands fisted at his sides. Do you really have to go? Yes. Actually, dinner sounds really, really good right now. You know what? Dinner sounds really, really good right now. Okay. Speaking of dinner, my freaking stomach. Michael's jaw dropped for a second before it quickly recovered. Yes, of course. Come, sit here, sit. I'll serve up the cottage pie in a minute. I sat as instructed, my stomach rumbling something fierce as the smell was the only thing I could focus on. Yes, this was definitely the right choice. It was important that you had to leave. What was so important that you had to leave so soon? The outside world can wait. You could stay here and enjoy my company. Oh, actually, I should ask, are you okay with meat for dinner? I could make something else for you if that's not your preference. Oh, I don't trust that he didn't cook up my cat. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna be a vegetarian for a day. Good thing I asked. Thanks for letting me know. Let me pick up some veggies from the garden and I'll make you something. He left out the back door with a basket, coming back inside surprisingly quick with a grin on his face. I expected him to toss something in a bowl, and having just done that, but apparently he had other plans. I watched as he washed the veggies thoroughly before chopping them up with an extra sharp knife, setting them aside and pulling out a container from one of the cabinets. He set a pan on the stove and oiled it up, tossing it in half of the ingredients and seasoning them with some herbs and spices while the pot boils next to it. The small kitchen quickly fills with the smell of his cooking. My mouth was already watering in response. I twiddled my fork on the table, trying to ignore the gnawing feeling in my gut. Luckily, I didn't have to wait long. Before I knew it, Michael had already finished humming as he strode over to the table and set my food down in front of me. Ooh, that looks tasty. I looked down at my dinner and almost gasped. It looked so good. Rice was fluffy as it peeked out underneath the colorful pile of veggies. I didn't know a simple dish could look so tantalizing. The serving size was a bit heartier than expected. He must have known I was starving. I'm uncomfortable again. You too close, bro. Michael brought over his own serving of cottage pie as he settled it into his seat. Sorry to make you wait. I tried to keep it simple but filling. Go ahead, dig in. He didn't have to tell me twice. I jabbed my fork into the dish, scooped up rice and spoon in my other hand, and shoved it in my mouth. Hot! Michael kept a polite expression, the corner of his mouth lifting as I panted with the food still in my mouth. Oh, 'cause it's hot. He gave me a few seconds to recover, elbow planted on the table. Planted. Oh my goodness. I've been... I'm having a hard time. Is it good? I nodded vigorously, even though my buds were burning. Mm-hmm. I couldn't taste anything. He laughed. It's usually better on the second bite. I slowed down, hand on my mouth, as Michael poked his fork into his pie. I tentatively blew on the plate to make sure it was cool before taking another bite. He was right. The second bite was a lot better. The rice was soft and flavorful, mixing in nicely with the crunch of the vegetables with every chew. I never had greens this fresh, and how gently he cooked them, every single element was finished to perfection. My host watched me enjoy the meal from across the table. Do you like it? Yes, this tastes amazing, Michael. This is weird. I don't know if I sound any different trying to sound like a guy, but hopefully I do. Because I don't know, I'll only hear it afterwards and then I'll cringe at myself. Anyways, he flushed from the compliment, rubbing the back of his neck. I'm sorry. I'm glad. Fuck. Oh, I need to stop laughing. Okay. I'm glad. I like to think of myself as a decent cook, but I've never been able to get anyone else's opinion on that. Do you like baking in particular? Not always. I usually go for simple dishes, or with any ingredients available. Ow. I nodded, immaculately, though didn't say much else. I was more focused on scarfing down dinner, which, thankfully, Michael didn't seem to mind. The overall atmosphere was nice and homely. I could hear Michael tapping his feet from underneath the table. I just realized he turned from blue to pink. I guess he was happy to have someone staying for dinner. It seemed like he lived alone, judging from the surroundings of his cabin. So, I'm curious. He perked up instantly, his focus solely on me. What made you want to live all the way out here? Oh, well, when you look like me, it's kind of easier to just live out of sight from everyone else. A pang of guilt shot through my chest. I was giving him a hard time about how he looked too. He must have sensed it clear as day on my face. Not that you're one of them. You've actually been a lot nicer than most. Though I wonder if... His smile turned strained. Never mind. My point is, it's better here than anywhere else. Why don't you try the tea, Firefly? He seemed uncomfortable now, easing into a different topic. It's probably best to follow along. Oh, sure. I reached towards my mug, only to push it off the edge with my clumsy fingers. Wait. I bent over the side to grab it, fully expecting it to just fall out of reach and land on the floor and break into pieces. It never did. Oh, whoa. Bro's got a tail. Instead, a long green appendage was twisted around the ceramic mug, securely keeping it in place. Not even a drop had fallen out. My eyes trailed along the length of it until I pinpointed that it came from behind Michael. The rest of it particularly hidden beneath his cardigan. Michael? Is that yours? Oh, this poor dude. Michael buried his face in his hands, the strange appendage from before lowered to his side, mug in tow. I'm sorry. I think it's time I was honest. Okay. 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 I was not expecting that. He lifted his head, fingers carting his hair back to reveal his eyes. I froze as no, multiple pairs of irises staring right into mine before darting to the side, avoiding my gaze. I know it's a lot to take in, but this is who I really am. Please, please don't be scared. I'm gonna remain calm, unlike what I just did. I swallowed audibly, willing myself to not look away. He seemed to be holding his breath as I gripped the edge of the table. It felt unsettling every time he blinked, those eyes in succession, even when he wasn't looking at me. Was it real? It had to be. Everything about him suddenly made more sense. The isolation, the avoidant behavior, he looked freaky, yes, but he also looked sad. I swallowed quickly. I'm not scared. I'm a little more scared. I don't like it when his eyes are super wide. And Michael's many pupils blew wide, dilating like an excited wildcat. It sent a shiver up my spine. Okay, maybe I'm just a little bit scared. Okay, he looks better when he's sitting up. It's not as freaky. Ah, sorry. He hastily grabbed an empty plate and hid behind it, shoulders scrunched in his desperate state. Would it help if I just... Oh, that's him talking. Oops. Would it help if I just hide it? I could fix my hair like before if that's what you prefer. His voice was muffled behind the ceramic barrier, sorry. 1 second. I could hide it behind... I'm having too much fun with this, I'm sorry. It was kind of endearing. I slowly reached out to touch his hand, the slight brush of my fingertips making him jump in place. Ah! Michael? Yeah? Can you put that down? What a nervous wreck. He slowly lowered the plate. His eyes were still darted to the side, avoiding me. Can you look at me? The dread. Yeah, he turned blue again. Don't look at me like that. Sorry, I can't help. I can't stop looking. This was so awkward. His hands were shaking. He looked down at the mug. I looked down at the mug still floating next to him, hanging on for dear life. I reached over to pluck it straight out of his grasp. I tentatively took a sip, noticing how Michael was watching me over the rim of the mug. The taste was mildly spicy, with an almost earthy bite to it. I recognized it instantly as ginger tea. It's almost room temperature, but still pretty good. Huh. You wanted me to try the tea, right? I like it, so thank you. Oh. I'm glad. Oorah. Michael relaxed back into his seat, following my lead as I picked up the fork once more. The silence didn't last long as Michael fidgeted. Are you really okay with this? With me? I gave him a once-over, really taking in his features. It's very different from what I'm used to, but I think I could learn to like it. Is that weird to say? Yes. I mean, you're not too bad looking. Wait. You're not too bad to look at. Okay. It's actually kind of, damn it, what do I say? I don't want to say hot. I'll say pretty. I don't want to say hot. It's not hot. Shh. I didn't mean to skip that. He was like, "Oh, you think I'm pretty?" Yeah. I think we broke him. Oh. My point is, your appearance shouldn't matter. You've been nothing but kind to me so far, except for when you low-key tried to gaslight the hell out of me, but we're just gonna push that aside. Uh, I'd be the worst person to judge someone based on how they look. I'm not judging by the weird staticky stuff in your head being like, no, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Right. Granted, I would probably do the same thing. I would crumple. I haven't known you that long, but you seem like a good person. You're fine, Michael. I smiled at him. We're fine. I I see. He fidgeted some more before nodding, smiling a bit. Thanks. I'll cherish this moment forever. Why does that sound sus? He beamed at me enthusiastically and went back to eating his food. That was something. We continued with a bit of small talk, mostly stories about Pixie or snippets from my personal life. Michael hung onto every word I said, not bothering to elaborate much about himself despite my burning curiosity. I could tell he was extremely insecure about his appearance, so it was probably best if I keep my questions to myself for tonight. We cleared up in the kitchen in relative silence, Michael storing away the rest of the pie as I washed the dishes by the sink. Being out here in this remote cabin, I wondered how he had running water. Maybe I'll ask him later. So, thanks for dinner. Thanks for the company. Oh, and please, take the bed tonight. But, you are my guest, and I am the host. Take the bed, okay? Alright, I'll be out of your hair first thing in the morning. Michael got quiet, staring at the floorboards. With his hair out of the way, I could finally read his expression. He seemed upset. Is that okay? I do need your help, though. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna get lost on my own. His tail flicked behind him. Yeah, I'll bring you home tomorrow morning. He heaved a sigh of relief. Thanks, Michael. I'll see you in the morning. Yeah. Good night. Good night, Michael. He seemed really happy to be able to say that. I plopped myself down onto Michael's bed, getting comfy beneath the blankets. Michael was gathering some blankets of his own to make a makeshift bed on the floor in front of the fire. He had an impressive collection of knitting items, a comfortable nest forming in the center of the room. My eyes trailed after his tail, now out in the open as it flicks and sways. Kinda like a cat. I miss Pixie. Now, with a stomach full, dozing off came easy. I didn't realize how tired I was. I listened to the gentle cracks of the fire, my vision darkening. Ah! Good night.